To say what happened yesterday in college football was an absolute travesty. But before we get into the commentary, I want to play a couple clips. Fair use is in effect. Fair use is in effect. Uh, so let's just get right to it.
2014 were heartbroken, devastated, and I'm sure there is a lot of anger in Tallahassee as a result of this. Just a terribly unfortunate set of circumstances that left Mike Norvell, who has done a fabulous job at Florida State, put the Seminoles in position, and now will be a challenge. State. Why did you choose Alabama?
Well, I think in looking at it, and again, that was the decision, was Alabama at 4. Florida State is a different team than they were through the first 11 weeks. Coach Norvell, their players, their fans, an incredible season. But as you look at who they are as a team right now, without Jordan Travis, without the offensive dynamic that he brings to it, they are a different team. And the committee voted Alabama 4 and Florida State 5.
There are a number of people in that committee room, Boo, who have football backgrounds. Jim Grobe, great coach at Wake Forest. You had Will Shields, who's a Hall of Fame player. You've got Joe Taylor, great coach. Chris Alt, great coach. When they were debating this, and Booger's been talking about it's okay to win with defense. When the coaches, the football judgment people in the room were debating this, what moved them?
I think it's one of the questions that we do ask is from a coaching standpoint, who do you want to play? Who do you not want to play? And as we go through that, again, looking at where we are today, right? Not where we were 3 weeks ago or, 8 weeks ago. Who do they want to play? Who do they not want to play? And they've got a significant voice in the room. And as we went through that and we went around and around, late last night, came back again this morning to do it again. And, again, we came back with, the top 4 as we did in Florida State at 5.
Okay, so this is the thing, right? If you ask me what was going on and why Florida State was left out, right? In my humble opinion, Florida State was left out because they wanted Alabama in there, right? The powers that be in college football, right? Because if you listen to the commentary all year when it came to college football and who was the 4 best teams, the commentators at ESPN consistently dick ride Alabama all year long. If you go back last year where you had Paul Feinbaum, that idiot commentator with the bald head, that old vulture-looking bastard, right? Him, along with all the ESPN personalities, were trying to justify a 2-loss Alabama team making the college football playoff. A 2-loss Alabama team last year trying to make the college football playoff. And we all know why that is. Because Alabama is well traveled. Their fan base will go anywhere. And they will sell tickets. So this ain't about the 4 best teams. This is about the 4 teams that will sell tickets. That saying Alabama team lost to Texas at home by 10. They needed a miracle to beat Auburn, who got housed by New Mexico State. Look, I'm not a Florida State fan. I'm a Clemson fan. But even I realized when the unjust and the screw job was being done, that was disgusting. That was disgusting of what happened yesterday. The college football got it wrong. They got it really wrong. And the listening to ESPN personalities like Kirk Herbstreit talk about, well, we don't make the rules. You may not make the rules, but you got a heavy influence on them rules. You have, because if y'all remember, if you go back a decade, right, when the college football playoff wasn't even a thing. We had the bowl championship series. And there was this big old discussion about algorithms before algorithms became a thing and why the computers chose these teams and all that. We need to have a playoff. ESPN, all their personalities, whether it been a first take, their college football segments or whatever, they were all trying to push for this playoff, right? Not only they were trying to push for this playoff, but they were trying to push for this a committee, this similar to what basketball have for the NCAA tournament. So all of this is ESPN driven because what was the network that ended up acquiring the college football playoff? And the college bowl mania aspect, all that was driven by ESPN. So for Kirk Herbstreit to sit up there on TV yesterday and try to do all this explaining and like, well, we don't make the rules. But yeah, but y'all network put heavy money in the college bowl mania. Your network put heavy money into this college football playoff. ESPN has paid the NCAA tons of money for this college football playoff. The end of the game is they're trying to sell tickets. What's up, Jeff Spark? Salute to you, bro. Mike Lewis, same to you. They're trying to sell tickets. They're really trying to sell this college football playoff. So for them to sit up there and say, well, this is about the 4 best teams, but one of the 4 best teams was left out in Florida State. And another thing that really got under my skin is the fact that you had to rely on projection and fantasy football scenarios to justify Alabama getting in over Florida State. Now, I'm going to play some more clips. Fair use, right? Fair use. Because what was done to Florida State was so unjust. I feel bad for those kids. Those kids is probably not going to see the NFL. For a lot of them kids, that was their last chance of trying to win a national championship. Because after this season, they're not going to play any more college football, and they're damn sure probably not going to make the NFL. So that was their last chance. And for that to get taken away from them like that, it's just disgusting. It was so disgusting the way that got taken away from them. Now, I don't agree with Booker McFarland on much.
It's gone with the undefeated Power 5 champ.
Well, I'm going to completely disagree with you. To me, this is a travesty to the sport because we go out there on the field and we play the game. And regardless of whether it looks good at the quarterback position, regardless whether we win with offense, whether we win with defense, the name of the game is to win. And that's a reason never before has this not been done. Winning a Power 5 conference, going undefeated, and not getting into the playoff. So I understand we want to look at style points and who are we going to get for the best matchups. But that's not what this is about. This is about understanding to get the 4 best teams. One team has a loss, and that's Alabama. One team doesn't in Florida State. And the fact that this committee could take a Power 5 conference champion that's undefeated. Those kids have went out there and busted their behind and not get into the playoff based on the eye test. Mind you, this is the same Alabama team who needed a prayer in Jordan Hare to beat an Auburn team that lost to New Mexico State. So that's really what has me bothered right now.
Reese,
Go ahead.
Now, so about that, right? Because they talk about we need to get the 4 best teams in there and the eye test. So what's the eye test? Because what person may deem something this way may not necessarily mean that for the other person. And who's the 4 best teams? How do we justify the 4 best teams? Because again, what criteria one person has for what they deem the 4 best teams may not be for the other individual. So I just want you to see the dick riding that goes on when it comes to Alabama, right? I just want to show y'all the dick riding that goes on, right? Because this is bullshit. Let's go. Hold on. I want to show you all the dick riding that was going on ESPN. Let's play this clip.
Number 6 and see who's been eliminated and see what the final decision came down to. Who's number 6? The Georgia Bulldogs. So after consecutive national championships, Georgia will not compete in the playoff, and this is also the first time that the team that was number 1 in the penultimate rankings has fallen completely out of the college football playoff field. So this leaves us with the decision that everyone thought we would end up having. Florida State or Alabama. One spot, whoever's 4 plays Michigan. Number 5, heartbroken. Who's number 4? And Alabama returns to the playoff, and so we have another unprecedented situation as Florida State winds up at number 5, and Florida State is the first undefeated champion from a Power 5 conference to fail to make the field in the college football playoff era.
Wow. I'm not shocked with how Florida State played the last couple weeks. They just have dropped off considerably at quarterback, and it's understandable, and I feel terrible for them. They did.
All right, so let me get this straight. Let me understand something. Florida State, who has not lost a game all year, they were ranked in the top 4 all year. Because when they beat LSU the way they did in the beginning of the season, they were pretty much in the top 5. They're pretty much in the top 5, maybe like top 4 all year long. Alabama loses to Texas by 10 points at home. Needed a prayer to beat Auburn. Barely got past Georgia in the SEC championship game. They were ranked outside that top 5. They were ranked number 8. So you mean to tell me Alabama jumps 4 spots and leapfrogs an undefeated Florida State team that won their conference championship? How is that possible? Explain that. How is Alabama get the jump 4 spots and leapfrogs Florida State? What's up, Alex? Hey, Ron. Y'all need to make that make sense, because that don't make no sense at all. Talk about, oh well, they didn't look like the same team from when they lost their quarterback. And what team will look the same? But that should not be some criteria to where some team will get left out the playoff because their quarterback went down. That's not no reason to leave a team out that won all their games and won their conference. Oh well, their team they didn't look as good without their quarterback going down to injury. So because their quarterback going down the injury, and they had to play their 3rd string because their 2nd string was in concussion protocol for the ACC championship game, and they didn't look good. So when do we start penalizing teams because of style points? No, Greg McElroy, they did not get it right.
Did everything you could possibly ask them to do, and here they are on the outside looking in. A lot of people will have big issues with this. They'll ask, why do we play the games? Why are we...
Yeah, Greg McElroy, why do we play the games? But I know why you will say that, Greg McElroy, considering that Greg McElroy was a former quarterback for the University of Alabama. I wonder if there's some kind of bias there. Greg McElroy. So, of course, you're going to be all for Alabama, considering you was a quarterback there. Let's continue on with this diarrhea of the mouth.
Looking at a team that's undefeated, that did everything asked of them to punch their ticket, but the committee actually did the thing that they've talked about for the last 10 years. Forever it's been, well, it's kind of the most easy to justify. Well, this team has 0 losses. This team has 1 loss. So therefore the 0-loss team should be ahead of the 1-loss team. This is the head-to-head. They took everything into account. They took a step back. They acknowledged injury, which they've talked about in the past. Mm-hmm. And they put in the 4 best teams. And that is not an easy thing to do.
Okay, so the 4 best teams is based on what? Because that's one thing y'all haven't said. Y'all haven't said what the 4 best teams was based on. So you basically did all this explaining and said nothing. Greg McElroy, who was a quarterback at Alabama. So of course he going to cap for Alabama, and everybody else that's on that ESPN panel go dick ride Alabama too. Just remember last year, they tried to justify a 2-loss Alabama team getting in the college football playoff. They tried that. They literally tried to justify a 2-loss Alabama team trying to get in the college football playoff. So, of course, these people out here be, catching Nick Saban's droppings and shit, dick riding Alabama all the way to the goddamn championship. Oh, this is about the 4 best teams. No, it's not. Because if it was about that, then Florida State should have been in the fucking playoff. Once again, Georgia was number 1 all year. They barely lose to Alabama. They go from being number 1 all year to being out of the college football playoff. You got a national champion, ACC champion, a Power 5 conference in Florida State, who ain't lost a game all year. Won their conference, but yet Alabama leapfrogs them to get in the college football playoff? But what about Texas? Well, Texas beat Alabama head-to-head. You took that into account, right? You took Texas beating Alabama head-to-head, right? Because what was the committee saying, or this so-called committee that's driven by ESPN? This committee that was driven by ESPN was telling teams, hey, or telling schools, hey, if you want to be considered to be in the college football playoff, you need to play somebody. That's why you have all these crazy-ass non-conference schedules to begin with. Because back in the day, teams used to schedule cupcakes because these cupcakes wanted money to, update their school and do renovations around their campus and stuff like that. So they would schedule these matchups against these Power 5 schools to get money so they can do their renovations and all that. But now the landscape has changed so much, no thanks in part to ESPN, because they put tons of money into this machine known as the college football playoff. So you mean to tell me that y'all don't make the rules? Y'all don't make the rules, but yet you put tons of money behind this thing known as the college football playoff because you only been talking about it for so goddamn long to where it became a thing. He who has the money controls the rules. He who has the money behind the machine controls the rules. Then we got this idiot, right? This is what he said about this yesterday. Listen to this dick riding.
Well, the big selection day. I know there are a lot of people really excited about the teams that were announced, and there are others that they're very frustrated, and I totally understand it. You take a team like Florida State, who had just a magical year, a year to be remembered for forever by their fans. Anytime you go 12-0 in the regular season and win a conference championship, to go 13-0, of course you feel you deserve to have your chance to go in and win a national championship. I get that. At the same time, I don't make up the rules. It's the rules that they created when they first put this playoff together back in.
Okay. So let's stop right there. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. You say you don't make the rules, but when this thing got put together, who made the rules then? Because you're the network you work for, under the Disney umbrella, put billions of dollars into this college football playoff dynamic. Y'all try to make this thing model like the NCAA tournament for basketball. You had Condoleezza Rice, of all people, on this committee at one point. Condoleezza Rice, y'all put tons of money into this college football playoff dynamic. You did. Because what was the network that got rights to the college football playoff and the national championship? Exclusive rights at that. It was ESPN. You know why? Because they put tons of money into this thing. So don't sit up there and tell us that you don't make the rules. I'm pretty sure you was in that room when them rules was being made. Somebody to that effect has some kind of influence to where these rules and regulations being made. So don't gaslight us with that Kirk Herbstreit Street. Get out of here.
In 2014, that things like head-to-head schedule play a factor in deciding the teams. You look at your strength of schedule, you look at if you're a conference champion, and then it also weighs in the significant injuries that the teams have.
Okay, so look, injuries should not play a part into whether or not a team should be left out of the college football playoff. If you're going to take injuries into account, why even play the game? Huh? If you're going to take injuries into account, well, this team looks different than what they well, of course they're going to look different. Did they win or did they not win? Because Alabama had quarterbacks go down. Alabama had quarterbacks got replaced due to poor play. You didn't bring that up. Alabama beat South Florida 17-3. You didn't bring that up. You didn't bring up the fact that a 4th and 31 against a rival who got housed by New Mexico State the week prior. You didn't bring that up. But we all know why that is. Because you, along with Paul Feinbaum and everybody else, be dick riding Alabama. Because you know why y'all dick ride Alabama and Nick Saban? Because, as I said earlier in the stream, Alabama's well traveled. Alabama will go anywhere they'll go because they know their fan base will travel with them. That's what y'all do. Let's just be honest with that. Y'all trying to sell this product. Y'all trying to sell out the seats. And the only way you can sell out the seats is dick ride Alabama. This ain't about the SEC, because if that was the case, they would have made a case for Georgia. Georgia been number one all year. Barely lose the championship game. They get left out the playoff. This ain't about the SEC. This is about Alabama. This is about ESPN dick riding Alabama.
And the loss of Jordan Travis, albeit impressive that the Noles won at the Swamp and then won in Charlotte to win the championship. This is not the same team without Jordan Travis. Just like Washington, who is in.
Okay, once again, did they win or did they not win? Did they win their games or not? So you mean to tell me an injury to a quarterback and them not looking good in your eyes, right? Because they're not putting up 50 points a game and shit. That's justifiable to leave them out of the playoff when they hadn't lost the game all year? But you left out the part where Alabama beat South Florida 17-3. So you got to make that make sense. Because you ain't saying nothing right now. Your excuses are fucking lame. Just say it. We want Alabama in there. And Florida State, why are we not putting Florida State in? Because fuck them, that's why. That's why. Let's just keep this 100. Why don't we want Florida State in the college football playoff? Because we don't feel that Florida State is going to sell enough tickets. We don't feel that Florida State is going to present a quality matchup. So it's based on feeling and projection and fantasy football scenarios. Nothing tangible. What's up, D-Love? Good to see you. All the excuses is nothing tangible. All it is a bunch of fantasy football scenarios and well, this team don't look as good and that team don't look as good, but this team look really good. But we don't feel. I feel you're a bunch of fucking idiots. That's what I feel. God damn it. Anyway, the more I think about this thing, the more it fires me up because this is a gross miscarriage of justice. I am not a Florida State fan. I'm a Clemson fan. But to see a team in a Power 5 conference win all their games, even though they should have lost to Clemson earlier this year, but hey, that's another story for another day. Win their conference, go undefeated, and still get left out the playoff because of a bias system that's in place. You guys dick ride Alabama all year. Tell me I'm lying. Anybody that's watching this video, that's going to watch this video later on, tell me I'm lying about how ESPN dick ride Alabama all fucking year. So we're going to pick and choose. So what's the whole purpose of having a body of work if you're going to take the last 2 weeks to justify a team being left out the playoff? Huh? What you used to play in the game all fucking year if you're going to take the last 2 weeks of a guy getting injured on the team and then they end up losing a bid in the playoff because of feelings and fantasy football scenarios and projections?
Would not be the same team if you took Michael Penix off of their team the last 2 games, and he wouldn't be able to play in the postseason.
Look, the only time you put in if-then scenarios is when you're trying to input data into a computer. That's the only time an if-then scenarios will, hey, if you type in xnxx.com, then it will take you to this porn site where you can see all the Wham Bam Thank You Ma'am sessions. And then if you put in this component here, it should do that. That's what you do with a computer. But with humans, you cannot take if-then scenarios to try to justify a team being left out of the playoff who has no losses versus a team with one loss getting in. Well, if Washington didn't have their quarterback, how do you know that? Do you have a time stone? Are you Dr. Strange all of a sudden where you can calculate 14,689,732 different scenarios and you come up with this one scenario of all the 14 billion different scenarios out there to justify your point? Get the fuck out of here.
Washington wouldn't be in this discussion. They'd be out. If Michigan didn't have J.J. McCarthy and he got hurt in similar fashion, he were taken off his team.
Well, guess what, Kirk Herbstreit? If I didn't have dick and nuts, I would be a female. But guess what? I do have dick and nuts, so that makes me a male. What the fuck did I got to do with why Florida State got left out versus Alabama getting in? Well, if you took this person off that team and if you took this quarterback off this team, it would be the same team. No fucking shit. But guess what? You can't say that because guess what? It didn't happen. So you can't use that to justify your little talking point. if you took this person off and you add this person in, you know what? And guess what? If I took lemonade off my damn tea, I would just have regular tea. Damn it. The fuck?
Team and didn't have a chance to be in the postseason. That would go into evaluating Michigan, regardless of whatever their record might be. That would be a significant loss for Michigan, and it would reflect that, I'm sure, by what the committee would do. So I think in this case with Jordan Travis, number one of the greatest players in the country, has had a lot to do with the reemergence of Florida State as a brand getting back to the national spotlight. And it's very, very sad to see the injury. And then, of course, the Noles to be left out. So please don't take this personally. It's more a reflection of evaluating Alabama versus Florida State and just looking at who is the better team right now. And that's why Bama should.
So what the use of playing 13 fucking games all year long only to use this? Well, who's the better team right now? Florida State, because Florida State has a better record than Alabama. That's why Florida State's the better team. So look, Kirk Herbstreit, you're not making no goddamn sense. You're not making no sense. You talk about who's the better team right now. Florida State is the better team right now because they have the better record. What's better? 13-0 or 12-1? Huh? Somebody help me out here. What's the better record? Huh? What's better, 13-0 or 12-1? or 12-1. I don't hear none of this other. Hey, I'm telling you right, don't come in here with no goofy ass shit. What's better, 13-0 or 12-1? Because last time I checked, 13-0 is a better record than 12-1. So you said that who's the best team right now? That makes no sense when you got Alabama in there with a worse record than a team who is 13-0. So, like I said, your argument falls flat on its face. Sitting up here trying to do all this explaining about why Alabama got in over Florida State. Talk about Florida State lost their quarterback, and that really hurt them. And did they lose though? Huh? Did they lose? No, they ain't lose. So what are you talking about? You're not making no damn sense. Then we got this guy, Paul Feinbaum, who dick rides Alabama all fucking year. I'm trying to find that clip. Hold on. Trying to find that clip with this idiot. And I want to show you all the dick sucker he be doing. Hold on. Where's he at? Man, fuck that. Hold on. We go here. And of course, YouTube got me shadow banned because I'm live right now. You can't even see me live. Look at that. That's how you know YouTube got me shadow banned. I'm on live right now, and they ain't got my video up. What's up, Money Dog 88? Y'all see this bullshit? I'm live right now, and you can't even see me being live. Now, I want to show you about how Paul Feinbaum be dick riding Alabama.
That there's been a lot of rhetoric spewed by many. Well,
I want y'all to see the dick riding that be going on right now.
Just been released within the last minute, and the final college football playoff rankings, the top four have Michigan number 1, Washington number 2, Texas number 3, and Paul Feinbaum on the final day of the rankings from 8-4. Alabama gets the fourth and final playoff spot over Florida State. Your thoughts on everything that just went down on television?
Well, it was the right decision, Matt, and I know that there's been a lot of rhetoric spewed.
Of course, you're gonna think it's the right decision the way you be gobbling dick for Alabama. Shit, you've been campaigning for the last 7 fucking years. So of course you're gonna think, oh, this was the right decision. Yeah, because it's what you wanted, you damn Bama.
By many well-meaning people, but this is the only way you could have done it. And I'll spare the audience all the talking points that you've been, had literally driven down your throat. But you go out there and you beat the number 1 team in the country, and your only loss is the number 3 team. I don't know how they could have done anything else.
Yeah, look, there's going
to be based on what? See, y'all relying on projection, and you relying on some stigma that the SEC was this dominant conference or whatever like that. Though you guys been overrating the SEC for far so long. You left out the fact that the ACC was 6-4 against the SEC. You left that part out, right? You left out the part where Florida State destroyed Alabama on opening night. Not Alabama, LSU. You left that part out. You left out the part where LSU got destroyed by Florida State. You left out that part in it. Florida State was 2-0 against the SEC because they beat LSU in a neutral site. They beat Florida at the Swamp with a backup quarterback. So don't give me this shit about how dominant the SEC is. You're a dick rider. Just admit it. Paul Finebaum, just admit it. Just hold up a big sign that says, I love gobbling dick for Alabama.
There'll be so many people out there that say games don't matter, games don't matter. Florida State, here are the facts. 13-0, Power 5 champion, third string quarterback. Key players and injuries factors in to the College Football Playoff Committee protocol. And there's no one with a set of eyes, no one with a set of eyeballs that could have watched yesterday's ACC championship and yesterday's SEC championship and said that Florida State was the better team than Alabama. There's just no one that could have done it. And I know people are saying, well, then the games don't matter. Well, they do, because Alabama beat the number 1 team in the country.
No, you can't say that they don't. You can't say that they matter in one breath, and then in the next breath, totally discount Florida State because they didn't look good against Louisville. So you're going to take that one game in the ACC championship against Louisville, who is ranked, versus Alabama, who looked good against Georgia. So based on what y'all feel was looking good for Alabama, that was enough to have Alabama leap 4 spots to go to the college football. You guys are fucking disgusting. You guys are feckless. You guys are so dishonorable, man.
Florida State barely got by a couple of teams with third string quarterback. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of angst out there today, Paul, but I just don't know that you can debate this. I don't think there's any debate.
Well, no, you really can if you're reasonable. Matt, some of the lines I've heard today issued by your colleagues up there at ESPN they do want to make your head explode. What about the other 99 players on the team? Well, what about the other 99 players on Alabama's team? They just knocked off Georgia. All these things are great, but I'm glad this committee didn't buy it. And I didn't think they would as midnight struck last night, because Florida State and Louisville was a painful game to watch, as opposed.
So you're going to penalize. So once again, you're going to penalize Florida State because the game was a snooze fest. It just wasn't exciting. I just didn't get no excitement out of it. The offense just doesn't look good without Jordan Travis. So you're going to penalize Florida State for their quarterback going down to a gruesome injury. Huh? That's basically what you're saying. You're saying that Florida State, we don't feel Florida State is not good enough without their quarterback. And for that, despite the fact that they haven't lost the game, we're going to keep Florida State out of the college football playoff and put in Alabama, who was ranked number 8, and you have them leap 4 spots over Florida State, who has not lost the game all year. Make it make sense! Oh, Lord have mercy.
To where I was yesterday, watching 2 heavyweights. I mean, it was like going back to the 70s, watching Ali and Frazier, and then the winner of that meets some boxing gym in Queens, and okay, you get. I mean, it's absurd, and I'm I think what it comes down to, Matt. I mean, there are a lot of people that really do hate the SEC, and that's fine. I mean, I get it. I live in that league, and people think all we do is propagandize, but we don't. Just go through the last 20 years of college football. I don't think you need propaganda to prop that league up.
The playoff committee, let's call it what it is. The SEC is very arrogant about their success, and they should be. Sure. Greg Sankey is very confident publicly about his conference, and he should be. And if there were a year where the committee could have kind of just given you a stick it to the SEC, this was the year, because they could have easily put in Florida State and said, you know what? Power 5 undefeated champion. They've never been left out. We're not going to start doing that now. Hey, and you know what? Texas beat Alabama. There's our top 4. See you guys later. It's been a good run. They could have stuck it to the SEC if they wanted to, and they did. They did their job and kind of looked at it and said, hey, you know what? I get it. We could probably do this and piss off the most powerful.
Hold on. So you feel that Alabama getting in, the committee did their job. But if Alabama didn't get in, then now all of a sudden the committee didn't do their job. And I tell y'all, they proved me right. They proved me right. ESPN proves me right by what they're saying and how this team, Alabama, can get into the playoff, but you don't make that the same argument for Georgia. That's how you know they dick riding Alabama. They did not make that same argument for Georgia. Georgia, they ain't lost the game all year up until they played Alabama. So, what we talking about? You didn't make that same argument for Georgia. You guys dick ride Alabama all fucking year. All year long, y'all dick ride Alabama. What's up, CB Sports TV? Salute to you, bro. Y'all made that argument all year for Georgia. But Alabama beat Georgia in the SEC championship game. We gotta find a way to get Alabama in there. You guys are disgusting, man. You guys at ESPN are fucking disgusting. You guys have no credibility. But then, once again, as I said many times on this stream, ESPN is the one that put all this money into the college football playoff. They're trying to really sell this college football playoff. They're trying to, and if it comes with controversy, so be it. But we're the ones that put money behind this. We're the ones that have the rights behind it. And damn it, this is what we're going to give you. Damn the results on the field. We're going to go off feelings. Because we feel that Alabama is a better team than Florida State based on one game over the weekend. But they left out the part where Alabama needed a Hail Mary to beat Auburn, who was housed by New Mexico State the week before.
Conference in the country, but we can't. Alabama's got to be in because they're one of the 4 best teams in the country.
really, Matt, we're doing this in real time, but when you think about the most ridiculous thing that we've heard today, is that Georgia's the number 6 team in the country. I mean, that is beyond comprehension. And I mean, they lost a narrow game to Alabama, but that's okay. I mean, everybody's had their say. I'm just glad that as Sunday turns to Monday, we don't have to hear any more talking points, because I mean, I'm sick of it. Yeah. I mean, what you said is interesting a minute ago.
No, see, this is the thing, Paul Farbaum. We're sick of you, okay? The people who really love watching college football and really like to analyze these games, we're sick of people like you, okay? Just because you got this platform known as ESPN, you think you're legitimate? You think you got credibility? You think you got stroke around this bitch? I'm here to tell you, no, you do not. You have no credibility in these streets. None. We look at you as a stupid idiot. All these years you were running your mouth talking shit about Clemson. Clemson don't deserve to be on the same field as Alabama. And anytime Clemson get on the field with Alabama, what happens? What happens? You got to eat crow, bitch. That's what happens. Anytime Alabama get on the field with Clemson, we make people like you eat crow. Because all you do is dick ride Alabama till the cows come home. And hold on, why are you dick riding Alabama anyway, considering you graduated from the University of Tennessee? You was a traitor, motherfucker. You was a traitor.
The SEC. Sometimes when you're as close to the sun as I am, I mean, I work at the SEC Network headquarters. You can be blinded by the light a little bit, but just because you're good doesn't mean you should turn people off into wanting to see that school. And I think that was a lot of it. And I think what also is fascinating, and there's 3.5 weeks to talk about it, but here we have the biggest name in the sport, the greatest coach of all time, taking on one of the most controversial teams and one of the most controversial coaches of all time in the Rose Bowl.
I mean, listen to how he's framing that when it comes to Nick Saban. Look how he's just gushing and his bussy juices out there just flowing, where he just out there just salivate. His tongue is just his saliva is just tingling over the name of Nick Saban. Just one of the greatest college coaches of all time. And just go ahead and slob on the knob like corn on the cob when it comes to Nick Saban. You missed that? Huh? Did you miss it? Don't worry, I got you, right? Because see, why he's talking about how people shouldn't be blurred or blinded by the light. He's a prisoner of the moment.
And one of the most controversial coaches of all time. Fascinating. And there's 3.5 weeks to talk about it. But here we have
listen to Dick
the biggest
Ride.
name in the sport, the greatest coach of all time, taking on one of the most controversial teams and one of the most controversial coaches of all time in the Rose Bowl of all places on New Year's Day.
Okay, and here's how you know they got it right. And Florida State fans aren't going to want to hear this. Again, we're doing this real time as they come out. Michigan would have likely been a double-digit favorite against Florida State.
So what does that have to do with Florida State being left out? So once again, you're projecting. You're projecting and conjuring up fantasy football scenarios. You're not giving a tangible, justifiable reason why Florida State is being left out of the college football playoff. Just come out and say that we wanted Alabama in there because Alabama is going to sell tickets. Why won't you just say that? Instead of just doing all this explaining and trying to come up, if Florida State was playing Michigan, the biggest odds we have, Michigan is a 2-touchdown favorite. How do you know that? Huh? How do you know that? So miss me with that dumb shit.
That's just the way it would have been. I would bet that Alabama, there's a chance Alabama could open up as a favorite against Michigan as the 4th ranked team in the playoff.
Yeah,
they got it right.
It's possible. I mean, that game will hover at Pick'em and go one way or the other. And there may be a little. I mean, but I don't care whether there's action on Michigan or not. It's a Pick'em game. And I'll be right all the time, but they're clever. And they moved Texas up to get them out of the conversation. They moved Georgia down to get them out of the conversation. And so they made it an Alabama versus Florida State. They vote in threes. This was. I wish they weren't so predictable. I'm glad they got it right, but I mean, this deserving versus best is convoluted because we know they don't ever pick the best. And Matt, if they did, Georgia would be in there. And quite frankly, folks in Columbus might have an argument as well.
Yeah, and I'm watching. I keep looking over because, again, the selection show's on as we speak. We're going to be a part of the coverage throughout the day.
Hey, hold on. What do you mean Ohio State? Did Ohio State play for their conference championship? No, they did not. So no, Ohio State should not be in the conversation. Because if that's the case, then why didn't you put Georgia in the conversation then? Huh? Why didn't you put Georgia in that conversation? Georgia didn't win their conference. Oh, I know, because you guys dick ride Alabama. Once again, when Alabama didn't play for the SEC championship, and y'all still found a way to insert Alabama in there. That's the same year Alabama beat Georgia in the national championship game, despite the fact Alabama didn't play for the SEC championship. You guys are fucking hypocrites. Just say it. You guys love Alabama. You guys love Alabama. So one year you had Alabama in the playoffs despite the fact that they didn't play for the SEC championship. Then last year you tried to justify a 2-loss Alabama team getting in the college football playoff, and now you're trying to do all this goddamn white splaining about Alabama being in the playoff this year, despite they don't have a better record than the team who is undefeated. You guys are not slick. You guys ain't slick. But Paul Finebaum is a fucking clown and a hater. He's a fucking clown. He don't like Michigan. He has gone on many rants and tirades against Michigan. You want me to prove it? I'll go ahead and prove it. So you want me to go ahead and prove it? Okay, I'll prove it. I'll prove it for you. I'll prove it to you about how he don't like Michigan. I'll prove it to you. Where you at? Listen to how he hates on Michigan.
We're reacting in real time. Oh, this was the moment of the year in college football. Matt, the floor is yours before I get in trouble.
Which moment? The crying after the game?
Well, all of it, but the crying after the game.
And the Sherrone Moore crying after the game was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. Like, last time I checked, Jim Harbaugh is still alive.
Yeah.
He is still with us. And
he went back with the team.
Right. And Mullen's like, well, the kids, he's crying about the kids. And I looked at Coach and I was like, what are they victims of? What exactly is Michigan a victim of here? Now, having said that, the way that this has been handled has been pretty clunky, but it's not like it's just the whole thing. No one's a victim of anything here. Michigan just steamrolled Penn State. They're going to win again next week against Maryland, and they're going to have the Ohio State game. This was going to happen regardless. Jim Harbaugh is with the team today. He's going to be with them all week. This society we've gotten into about everyone being a victim over something. Again, they are being accused of cheating. They're not being blamed for something they didn't do. The proof is right there. But the crying.
Okay, all right. So let's talk about that cheating shit, right? Yeah, I know Stephen A's a hater on Michigan. Stephen A's a clown too, right? Look, let's talk about this thing about this cheating aspect of it. Okay, so why do we watch tape? Huh? Paul Feinbaum, Matt Berry, you fucking idiot. Why do we watch tape? You don't think when a team watches tape and break down film against an opponent, they're not looking for signs, they're not looking for things that might tip them off that a certain play might be in develop or whatever like that? Huh? Oh, well, they're going to the game to scout the opponent. That's cheating. Really? How is that cheating? Your scouts is going to a game to scout the opponent is cheating. So y'all looking at tape every week to scout the opponent. That's cheating too, right? You guys are fucking idiots, man. I swear to fucking God, man. You guys just make up rules as y'all go along. You fucking stupid ass idiot white supremacists, man. You guys just make up rules as you go along. This fucking scenario-based morals and situational ethics is shit. Because last time I checked, games are won and lost on the field. So why do we watch tape? Huh? Because if you're going to use that excuse of, well, they were going to the games and they were scouting the opponent, then watching tape is illegal too. Watching tape is illegal too. Because don't we got situations to where, hey, look, in this formation here, when they're in this formation, the wide receiver likes the motion. When he motions and the quarterback tips his head, that means this play is being developed. So be on the lookout for that. So what's the difference then of a person going to the stadium to scout the opponent and then watching the tape, breaking down the tendencies and the traits of the opponent and what they like to do in certain situations? What's the difference? So how's it cheating? Nobody wants to answer that question. How is it cheating? They can't even tell you how it's cheating because it's not. It's not cheating. Them going to the game to scout the opponent, that's not fucking cheating. That's how you know this is fake outrage. Meanwhile, the NCAA takes hundreds of millions of dollars from student athletes every fucking year. That's really where the outrage should be at. And then the NCAA gonna have the audacity to punish schools and ban players because for them having to commit the crime of making a few dollars for themselves when the NCAA don't even give it back to them. When tons of money being flowed up to the NCAA and the NCAA don't reciprocate and bring some of that money back down, but yet they want to punish players and ban schools and all this other shit for the gross crime of making a few dollars for themselves. Hypocrites.
Last night, we laughed. I mean, I laughed. Call me and said I laughed. That was funeral crying over a win for a coach that oversaw a program that has been cheating.
Yeah, and by the way, the coach participated in the preparation. he was with the team until they went to the stadium. It's not like this coach was carried off, was handcuffed and taken to an underground silo somewhere.
He's sitting probably in a Four Seasons watching the game.
Yeah. And
taking notes. Hell, who knows? He could be on earbuds talking to someone on the sidelines. Like it's just.
By the way, do you need a $10 to $12 million a year coach to make those type of offensive calls?
They didn't throw one pass in the second
No.
half. Not one. I mean, look, Sharon Moore might be a great.
Hey, stupid motherfucker. Hey, stupid motherfucker. Hey, let me ask you a question. So they didn't throw one pass in the second half. Did they win the game, though? Did Michigan win the game? So your little talking point is useless. Did they win the game or not? Dumb fuck! See, this is why ESPN cannot be taken seriously. I've given you more than enough evidence to where you cannot take ESPN seriously. You cannot take these media members seriously because this is gross. This is so gross of what they're doing right now. Hey, let's dick ride Alabama and let's find everything under the sun that discredit and diminish the accomplishment Michigan has done. Or let's use an injury to discredit and diminish the accomplishment Florida State has done this year. Let's lose every little nook and cranny and little false narrative out there to discredit all the other schools. But when it comes to Alabama and Nick Saban, oh, you better not say anything bad about Alabama. Oh, I swear to God, if you say anything bad about Alabama, stand by. You will not say anything bad about Alabama. Because it's sacrilegious and it's blasphemous for anybody to sit up there and have the audacity, the unmitigated gall to talk trash about Alabama. Guess what? Alabama ain't all that good. Now put that dick in your mouth and choke on it.
Guy, and great job by him. But like this,
Well, I mean, he just got through beating James Franklin. That's a good moment for him.
Yeah, it's more top 5, 10 wins than James Franklin has. Like the whole thing was just this whole Michigan thing's been funny. They do this us against everybody t-shirt thing, which is great. But then you do that after the game. Like, is it you against everybody, or is it like, I don't know.
It's very much something that happens in high school. And they turned it into a movie.
Yeah.
Whether it's Footloose or Remember the Titans. I mean, it doesn't matter. It was just Bush League the whole way. But then again, that's what we're talking about here with Michigan. I mean, this is the most obnoxious fan base in America. This is a fan base.
Whoa. Hold up. Now I know you telling lies now. Michigan fan base is obnoxious? No, the school you dick ride for every week is obnoxious. The school that you constantly put on the Scrappy-Doo cape for in Alabama, no, their fan base is obnoxious. Get the fuck out of here. I know you telling lies now, Paul Feinbaum. You telling some big lies on TV right now. You said Michigan fan base is obnoxious? Have you not seen Ohio State? Have you not seen Alabama? Have you not seen Texas? Have you not seen Oklahoma? And you have the audacity to say that Michigan's fan base is obnoxious? I know you need to stop lying. You need to stop lying right now. You need to stop lying right now. You need to get your ass out of here with that lie. You need to get your ass out of here.
That literally thinks the world revolves around the University of Michigan football program.
You don't think that Alabama don't have the same thing? You don't think the college football world and your dick licking ass? Yeah, because man, you got the nerve to say that Michigan's fan base is obnoxious when the same thing could be said about Alabama, the school you constantly cape for and cap for, and the way you be gushing about Nick Saban. Oh, he's just so amazing. Oh, he's just the greatest college coach ever. Yeah. You need to stop. You need to stop that right now. Talk about Michigan fan base is obnoxious. What?
It has, I mean, you can't judge a university by those who tweet about it, but I'm going to. I mean, Michigan has what? Correct me, Matt. Won 1.5 national championships in about 70 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, Alabama and Georgia won one while we were talking here, and they looked down at everyone. I mean, Michigan's a very fine academic institution. Great, not as good as Harvard, not as good as Yale, not as good as Stanford. I mean, it's just it's a good state school. Big deal. But its football program is really becoming just comical in terms of what of what it's trying to represent out there.
Look, go win. Like, you're dominant. You're undefeated.
Now, see that I'm not gonna show you any more of that bullshit, right? I'm not gonna show you any more of that bullshit because that just goes to show you the high level of bias that goes on when it comes to these clowns at ESPN. Because you guys are clowns. Just keep this 100. You guys are fucking clowns and a bunch of haters. Any school that's not Alabama, then all of a sudden, they're not that good.
Rose Bowl,
Get the
Michigan,
fuck out of here.
Alabama. Then
This is the
Washington
last
and
video I'm
Texas
gonna
in the Sugar Bowl. Winners will meet for the national championship in Houston. Undefeated Florida State left out. Seminoles head coach Danny is here. The whole crew wants to get in. And of course, you see Paul Feinbaum. I am told we have Heather, so let me get Heather first because I think the most important information is the information she has. Heather, for those who did not spend all of yesterday listening to all of the reaction, how did the committee explain the decision to leave out an undefeated conference champion in Florida State?
Greeny, their answer was repeated and fairly simple. It was that they did not think that Florida State was the same team without injured starting quarterback Jordan Travis. And at the end,
and once again, it goes back to what they think and what they feel. Nothing tangible as to justifiable as to why Florida State's being left out. Nothing tangible. All you hear is what we feel and what we think and what we feel and what we think and what we surmise and the conclusion that we got after meeting with this panel of geniuses is that we don't feel like. Everything's a feeling. Everything's a thinking. Nothing's tangible.
end of the day, they didn't think that the Seminoles were capable of looking like a top 4 team and competing for a national title without him. There were coaches in the room, strong voices in the room, and they voted multiple times. This was an agonizing, difficult decision for them. But at the end of the day, they thought that Florida State would have trouble competing and winning a national title without Jordan Travis, but it was also the fact that Alabama's strength of schedule was better and Alabama had knocked off the committee's #1 team. So it was a combination of those two factors, but I promise you this was not an easy decision in that room.
Paul Feinbaum, did they get it right?
They did get it right, Greeny. And can we all just stop with the fake outrage from the Florida State AD and the president? I get the coach, I get the players, but the rest of the people just need to shut up already. This is college football.
No, bitch, you need to shut up. You need to shut up. You need to shut up because all you're going to do is with your Alabama tie and your Alabama dick breath is going to sit there and justify Alabama getting in and talk about their strength of schedule and they have the better team. And, well, we feel that Alabama's better than Florida State. Based on what? Based on what? Because you still hadn't said that. You still hadn't answered that question yet. Based on what? Don't give me this shit about the strength of schedule and all that and what you feel and what you think. Don't give me that shit. What's better, 13-0 or 12-1? Answer that question, and then we'll go on to Armageddon.
It is not a perfect system. We have controversy every year. It helps fuels in what makes the sport great. And for the coach to say it's a sad day in college football, I saw people celebrating all over the place. I think we have an amazing game. Michigan and Alabama, please, Michigan was upset. They have to play Alabama. And let's not forget, and Heather alluded to it, Greeny, why is Alabama in this game? They beat Georgia. Remember Georgia? They were the number one team in the country all year. They were the two-time defending champions going for a three-peat. That impressed the committee. And then the committee sat there and watched that travesty from the ACC championship game. Not a travesty from the standpoint that Florida State doesn't have an elite defense. They're fantastic. But they had no offense, and they simply did not want to see another TCU disaster in one of the games coming up here at the end of the month.
TCU, of course, the team that won a game in the college football playoffs last year. I just want to confirm that everyone understands that. They got blown out in the championship game, but they beat Michigan to get there. Dan, did the committee get it right?
Yes, the committee got it right. Okay, so a couple of things are important. The only way that this was going to be ideal is committee came out yesterday and said, we're going to go to 6 teams this year and not 4. That was the only way that they were going to make everybody happy, all right? I think to understand Coach Norvell's emotions is a very real thing. This is not okay. It's not, this doesn't make it right in their eyes, but we have to stop saying that this Florida State team went undefeated as a Power 5 conference champion. This team did not. The team 2 weeks ago with Jordan Travis did. This is a different football team. The 2 ways that I try.
All right, well, look. I know you was the bum-ass quarterback when you played for the Detroit Lions. That's why you're sitting up on ESPN right now. But guess what? They won the conference championship without Jordan Travis, you buffoon. They won the conference championship. They beat their rival without Jordan Travis. And they didn't need a Hail Mary to do it. It's the same old dumbass talking point. None of you motherfuckers is making sense.
Try to analogize this is number one. 3 weeks ago, all of us who cover the NFL on a daily basis said the Cincinnati Bengals were the team to beat in the AFC. Mm-hmm. Once their starting quarterback went down, they were no longer the team to beat in the AFC because he's that important of a player. If this was a tailback, if this was Benson or Johnny Wilson, different conversation.
Hold on, because there's something you left out on that one there, motherfucker. There's something that you left out. There's something that you left out in that, right? You know, you trying to compare the NFL to the NCAA. Get the fuck out of here. That's for one. For two, when Joe Burrow went down, guess what the Cincinnati Bengals were doing? They were losing games. They haven't won a game since Joe Burrow went down. Florida State has won games ever since their quarterback went down. So what are you talking about? You sound dumb. See, this is why you can't take people on ESPN seriously. It says stupid shit like this, and it's easily can be debunked. They say dumb shit like this, and it easily can be debunked.
Their quarterback's a Heisman Trophy candidate. That's number one. Number two, these are like Alabama gets in not strictly because they won the SEC. They controlled that football game. There was never a doubt. They went down 7-0. Immediately when they took the lead, it was like, when does Georgia make their run? Georgia wasn't even close to making a run. I don't want to say dominated, but controlled the football game. Mm-hmm.
The game that ended up in a 3-point. I'm just confirming.
Controlled the game.
3-point game. Yeah.
Controlled the game.
Yeah. Controlled a 3-point win. Yeah.
The committee is almost like an NFL general manager. You got to pick teams kind of what they've done in the past, but also what you believe they're going to do in the playoffs. That's how it is when it comes to paying NFL contracts. That's what they were tasked with, picking the 4 best. Stop using earned, stop using deserved. They don't use that conversation when it comes to picking their 4 teams.
In what other sport do we do that, though, Dan? I'm just curious. I mean, so let me present a possibility here, Heather. Let me throw this possibility out there. When the NFL season ends, let all the teams play all 17 of their games, and then I'm going to put together a committee. Former coaches: Rex Ryan, Mike Shanahan, Bill Parcells, Marv Levy, 98 years old. God bless him, still out there. You guys know football. You know a lot about football.
A little bit.
So why don't you decide which 14 teams will wind up getting in? You decide which the 14 best are, because you know football way better. What does it matter what happened
maybe
on
the
field?
system's broken.
Just put them all in. The system stinks, is the point. The system is dead wrong. Florida State scheduled a powerhouse. They played them on a neutral field and beat them. They won every game in front of them. They won what we call a Power 5 league, and 13 people sitting in a... No, I don't have to stop saying anything. They won all of their games. Anyone can get hurt at any time. They won every game that was... They did literally everything that could be asked of a team, and 13 people making the subjective, not objective decision that they aren't as good anymore left them out of it. You know what happened yesterday? Football became figure skating. Figure skating is something that judges decide, because there is no objective way to decide if you were the better figure skater. But there is an objective way to judge football teams based on what they did. Florida State's strength of record was 3 at the end of the season.
Schedule, it's 55th.
Their strength of record is 3. They didn't lose a game.
Let me ask you this. I love
what?
You.
Yes.
The NFC title game last year happened because of why?
Because the quarterback got hurt. It happens.
But I mean, you used the Bengals as an example. The Bengals then went on to lose 2 games.
Yeah.
Thank you. Somebody got some fucking sense around here. Huh? Somebody got some motherfucking sense around here. Thank you. So what are we talking about? Huh? The fuck are we talking about? So yeah, ESPN, sit y'all asses down somewhere. You guys, Paul Feinbaum, all you clowns, sit the fuck down somewhere. You guys ain't making no sense. Y'all just saying y'all just saying anything right now. Y'all just saying anything right now.
Because the quarterback got hurt. It happens.
But I mean, you used the Bengals as an example. The Bengals then went on to lose 2 games. Yeah. Arguing that Florida State doesn't deserve to be in for.
No, I totally agree that they deserve.
You're arguing.
But the committee does not
believe. We don't have to defend the committee. We can.
But Dom, when the committee lays out in words, this is how we are going to make a decision. Whether you agree with it or not, they're using that as the reasoning why they're making their decision.
That's my next block, by the way. Don't throw that.
Earn or deserve
That's my D's. Let me get Paul in. Go ahead, Paul. Go.
Greeny, I think I know why you're so upset. I mean, the Jets season is over. Rodgers isn't coming back, but calm down. I mean, you went off on a tangent there that defied gravity. First of all, some of those things are true. Not all of them are true. But
which was not true?
The bottom line is here's what's not factual. Well, it's partially factual. We're supposed to start the 12-team playoff this year. The one we have next year was supposed to start this year. And you have any idea who was against it? This all happened when Oklahoma and Texas came into the SEC. It was all mostly agreed upon. And then the commissioner of the Big Ten, your conference, the Pac-12, and the ACC. You familiar with the ACC? That's the league.
No. See, now we're going around in circles now. We're going around in circles. Talk about the ACC and the Pac-12 and the Big Ten commissioner. That don't got shit to do with why Alabama got in and Florida State got left out. That has nothing to do with why the committee decided to put Alabama in over Florida State. Get the fuck out of here, Paul Feinbaum. See, now you're reaching. Just admit it. You don't got no argument. We reaching for shit. We reaching.
That Florida State won on Saturday night. Those 3 men, especially the ACC commissioner, said, we're not going along with this. This is wrong. Had they gone along with it, FSU would be playing Liberty in 3 weeks.
What does any of that have to do with the players going 13-0 this year? Like that's the ACC commissioner. So I am fine with the Florida State not being in there. What I'm not okay with is everyone arguing that they have not done enough.
No, Dom, I want to make it clear. Like,
that's fine.
Florida State deserves to be in. They earned the right on the field. I feel awful for their players and their quarterback.
No, you don't. No, you don't. See, and that's the thing that really pisses me off. Y'all sitting up there talking about, well, I feel really bad for Florida State not making it. I mean, my heart really goes out to those players. No, then why all this date looking for Alabama? If that's the case, then oh man, my heart really hurts for the players that's on that field, and especially goes out to Jordan Travis. I mean, he was the heart and soul of Florida State. I mean, the way he went out there and the way he looked when each week, and Florida State was the best team, and they were one of the best 4 teams in the country. When he went down to that gruesome injury, oh my God! My head was on the floor, and I was crying all over the place. And I wanted it so badly for the Florida State, but Alabama had the 5th best schedule, and they had 1 loss, but that 1 loss is okay because that Texas team was ranked in the top 10 at the time, and Nick Saban is the greatest college coach in the country. Oh, and by the way, they beat #1 Georgia. That's why they're in the playoff and not Florida State. That's the shit they were saying all day and all night and into the morning. You guys are dick riders.
Jet season is over. Rodgers isn't coming back, but calm down. I mean, you went off on a tangent there that defied gravity. First of all, some of those things are true. Not all of them are true.
Which was not true?
The bottom line is here's what's not factual. Well, it's partially factual. We're supposed to start the 12-team playoff this year. The one we have next year was supposed to start this year. Anyway, you have any idea who was against it? This all happened when Oklahoma and Texas came into the SEC. It was all mostly agreed upon. And then the commissioner of the Big Ten, your conference, the Pac-12, and the ACC. You familiar with the ACC? That's the league that Florida State won on Saturday night. Those 3 men, especially the ACC commissioner, said, we're not going along with this. This is wrong. Had they gone along with it, FSU would be playing Liberty in 3 weeks.
What does any of that have to do with the players going 13-0 this year? Like that's the ACC commissioner. So I am fine with the Florida State not being in there. What I'm not okay with is everyone arguing that they have not done enough.
No, Dom, I want to make it clear. Like,
that's fine.
Florida State deserves to be in. They earned the right on the field. I feel awful for their players and their coaching staff and their quarterback. This isn't like, again, the committee made like a bad decision.
Let me ask you a question.
The necessary
hold on. Heather. Is Heather still there? Good.
Yes,
Heather,
I'm here.
In the penultimate rankings, Texas was well behind Florida State, right? Like significantly behind. Texas, I think, was 7th, and Florida State was in one of the 4 spots. Texas beat a far lesser team on Saturday than Florida State did. How does Texas jump Florida State?
Well, Texas jumped Florida State because Texas beat the SEC champs in week 2, and that matters as much to the committee yesterday as it did in September.
And they had a healthy quarter.
They didn't play that game in September. They put the 4 teams in they wanted to put in. And let's just say it. How the hell is Florida State ahead of Georgia? Someone explain to me how in the end, final, Paul, if Florida State played Georgia right now, to use your logic, Georgia would be a 3-touchdown favorite.
They are a 14-point favorite.
So they leave them there to what? To make them feel even worse? Look, guys, we left you as close as we possibly could, but we can't let you play with the big boys. We're going to go put you in the Georgia game. Paul, how do you explain putting Alabama and Texas ahead of Florida State but not Georgia?
You can't. And that's the best point I've heard all day. Georgia's better than Florida State. And we don't know really I don't know how Georgia went from #1 to 6, but Heather knows this better than I do, Greeny. But these people in the committee room, they have to match. And I think what they didn't want was a debate about Georgia. So they just pushed Georgia as far away from #1 as they could after 1 loss to, by the way, the #4 team in the country. And then they made it an Alabama FSU debate so they could blame it all on Jordan Travis. I'm not saying it's a great system. I don't like it. You know that. I've been here a million times talking about the travesty of the way they do it. But thank goodness we won't be going through this next year. So the sport is not dead. It's quite healthy, by the way.
So let me just ask this for everyone who watches games, and Paul is in there. And if you have watched, put everybody back up on the screen, Cindy, because I want to see everybody. If you have watched 5 football games in your life, answer the following question. Is Georgia one of the 4 best teams in the country?
Unequivocally.
It's not even close, right? Not even close.
Well, it's close. I mean, the 4 teams that are in are really, really good football teams, Greeny. That's why I said the only way this year was to have 6. I don't want to, I can't sit here, and I don't know how Heather and Paul feel, but like, I can't sit here and say Georgia is unequivocally better than Texas or unequivocally better than Bama. I don't know if we have 4 great teams this year. I think we have 5. Shoot, I think Oregon's awesome. So it's not 4 teams this year. That's the truth. Yeah. The system broke this year.
Heather, go.
Yeah, listen. So the point is here, guys, this system was designed to exclude a Power 5 conference and get the 4 best teams. Yep. These are the commissioners who put this system in place. Someone was always going to be left out and angry for the past decade, right? And when you look at Georgia, they were not unequivocally one of the 4 best teams in the country around that table. They didn't win their conference title. And we're not just talking about Florida State's quarterback injuries. We're also talking about Georgia's injuries. Brock Bowers, Ladd McConkey.
Hey, hold on. Because see, now you don't put your foot in your mouth. Because I remember many years when Alabama didn't win their conference and y'all tried to justify them even saying that they were one of the 4 best teams to make the playoff. Now make that make sense, huh? Last year, you had a 2-loss Alabama team who did not play in their conference championship last year. No, they played. Yeah, that's what it was. No, hold on. Let me get some because they played in the national championship game last year. It was 2. I think it was like last year, 2 years ago. They had a 2-loss Alabama team that didn't make the playoff, and yet y'all tried to justify them making the playoff. No, I take that back. It was last year because they played TCU last year. Georgia played TCU last year in the national championship game. You had a 2-loss Alabama team last year. Oh, you said that was 2 years ago? Okay, that was 2 years ago. Okay, that was 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, Alabama didn't play in the SEC championship game. They lost. They were a 2-loss team, and yet you had them ESPN trying to justify Alabama getting in the playoff. So don't give me that bullshit. And I said it back then about how if you don't win your conference, you should not play in the college football playoff. To me, that's a requirement. That's a requirement. If you don't win your conference, you should not play for the national championship. Period. I said that 2 years ago, and I'm still saying it now. So no, Georgia should not be playing for the national championship because they didn't win their conference.
That was a part of the conversation late into Saturday, into Sunday. So Georgia was not truly seriously considered for a top 4 spot because of those conference champions ahead of them. But I do agree with you. And in my prediction late that night, I thought that Georgia was going to be ahead of Florida State and Florida State was going to be 6. So I think it's a fair point.
All right, I have to leave it there in the interest of time. I promise we will come back to all of this.
I feel awful for Florida State.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Shut your ass up. No, you do not. You don't feel bad for Florida State. You don't. You don't feel bad for Florida State, dude. So get the fuck out of here. You can sit and spare us your fake sympathy and all that and your crocodile tears. Fuck out of here. The fact of the matter is, Florida State deserved to be in that playoff. Look, I don't like Florida State. I don't like Florida State at all being a Clemson fan. I don't like Florida State. But even I know when the unjust is being done, they got screwed based off of thoughts and feelings and projection and fantasy football scenarios. And Dan Orlovsky knows better. Dan Orlovsky played in the NFL. Dan Orlovsky played in the NFL. So this notion that I don't, my heart really goes out to Florida State. Get the fuck out of here. You don't feel bad for him. As far as y'all concerned, y'all got what y'all wanted. Y'all got what y'all wanted. Y'all wanted Alabama in there. Y'all got Alabama in there. You got what you wanted. So that way, idiots like Paul Feinbaum and that Matt Berry clown, they can sit up in there and gush and get their bussy all wide open and all that, and just start, just going to town about how Nick Saban's this legendary coach and that Alabama's this legendary school, all that stuff. So, yeah, there is a committee next year. They're going to expand to 12 teams. There's going to be a 12-team playoff next year. Next year, the college football playoff will expand to 12 teams. But I guarantee you this, even if it did expand to 12 teams, there's always going to be some form of controversy about what team should have been in and what team should have been out. So no matter how much they move the line to allow more teams in, there's always going to be one or two teams that's going to be screwed. And unfortunately, we just had a Power 5 conference champion who had not lost a game all year get screwed based on thoughts and feelings. Nothing tangible, no objective reason at all. It's all subjective and projected, not objective. That's why Florida State got screwed, because it's subjective and projected, but not objective. And as a result, ESPN, that put in tons of money behind this college football playoff machine and this college bowl mania machine, because pretty much outside of like one or two bowl games, the other 35, 40 bowl games on ESPN. Every last one of them. Whether it be the Popeyes Chicken Bowl or the Northern or the Charmin Toilet Bowl or the CarQuest Bowl or the Mighty Car Care Bowl or the KFC Bowl or the Liberty Bowl or the Military Bowl or the Independence Bowl. All these bowl games on ESPN. The only ones that's not on ESPN are the Holiday Bowl, which comes on Fox, and the Sun Bowl that comes on CBS. But all these other bowl games that they got is on ESPN. Why? Because ESPN put tons of money behind this college bowl mania. They put tons of money behind the college football playoff. They did. So for guys like Kirk Herbstreit, Paul Farmer, all the clowns, buffoons, idiots, scammers, and shysters that sit there on TV talk about, we don't make the rules. Yeah, but you got a lot of influence behind it because of the money that you put into it. So don't give me that bullshit. Now, if you're not subscribed to this channel, make sure you get the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share these videos on your social media platform. Because the people who don't got no influence on the game have all the influence on the game. Shouts out to the Lions Den basketball community. I thank everybody for tuning in. This your man. Scream at me. Oh!